was going to present about Steve Jobs, but Miss Ara decided to steal my hero. So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I actually have no hero, and I don't believe in heroes at all. I was just planning on doing on Stevie Jobs because I was impressed by his speeches, but fundamentally I don't believe in heroes. The reason is that I don't think that listening to like someone successful can actually help you. It can help you to a certain extent, but I don't think you can live their life. Like people who succeeded from their creativity will say, "Oh, enjoy your moment. You know, don't give up the things that you want to do now for the future." Whereas the people who achieve success by like diligent working will say, you know, sometimes you have to give up your current joy for the future. So like every successful person says different things. And I think that considering someone a hero and idolizing someone is a very American thing. Like in Hollywood movies, like people are in trouble and there's always heroes saving people's lives. I believe that there is no one hero, but I think that each person should be their own hero and save their own lives. You can learn from successful people, but you cannot live their life. They cannot live your life for you, and you cannot live their life. So I think that it's rather than having a hero or idolizing someone, I think that it's important that you yourself grow within yourself and try to pursue a life that you think is successful and productive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dara, for sharing your respective leadership that you found from Steve Jobs. So we are now hearing the next speaker, Bella. Bella is her hero, her leader. Do you know her? No? Oh, I think she's quite famous these days.
하기 싫어요. 안 녹화하면 안 돼요. 녹화 안 나면 안 돼요. 그냥 하고 있는 것 같은데. 헐. Hello, my name is Bella, and I'm going to talk about my hero. She is from a neighbor country of my country, which is Burma, and I'm from Vietnam, so we are from Southeast Asian, so that's why I picked her as my hero. Her name is Aung San Suu Kyi. Korean people call her Suu Kyi. She was a leader of democracy movement in Burma, and she is known as one of the greatest champions of peace, following in the footsteps of Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent resistance. Like one of the greatest champions of peace in the history, and she received Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. She was born in a very well-known family in Burma, and her father founded the modern Burmese army and negotiated Burma independence from the British Empire in 1947. Following his, his father was assassinated after that, and her family kind of put under a dilemma, and she had to move to America and also to study. Like she has a degrees in politics, philosophy, and economics, so is a very knowledgeable woman. She get married to a foreign man. I think he's a wise person, and he's a color, and so her family lived in London. She only went back to Burma in 1988 because her mother got sick. But after he went back to Burma, and she see the situation of the whole country. The whole country is in under control of the military, and people have no peace, no freedom. So she she loved her country and loved her people, so she decided to stay there and lead the democracy movement. And since then, in 1988, she was put under house arrest, and she was put under house arrest until 2010, which means she was put under house arrest for 21 years. And even though, she was separated from her family in London, and she doesn't want to go back to London because she knows that if she moved back to London, the government of Burma will not let her ever go back to Burma for the democracy movement. So she decided to just stay there. And also the military and the government back then didn't permit her family to go to Burma to see her. So she was separated totally with her family in more than 20 years. So the reason why I choose her because even though she was a woman, she has a really strong will of protect her nation and her people, the Burmese people. And I picked 3 famous quotes of her. The first one is, "If you do nothing, you get nothing." So it means that everything should be put into action. If you want to get something, you have to do something to get it, not just stay still and have some wish. Nobody's gonna be the hero for you, as Darwin said. You have to be the hero if you want to get something done. And that is the very first thing that I like about her. And the second quote is, "When you decide to follow a certain path, you should follow it to the end and not be diverted from it for personal reasons." So as you know, she was separated from her family for more than 20 years, but she didn't give, as a woman, we love family, we love children, and we want to take care of them. But because of a bigger wish, she sacrificed and fought for her country, the democracy in her country. And the third quote that I like from her is, the true measure of the justice of a system is the amount of protection it guarantees to the weakest. So the philosophy of her leading the country is, we have to take care for the weakest. So, a really famous idea in education or anything, in political field as well, is no one is left behind, no one should be left behind. So I think this Shan Suu Kyi also go for it. They also want to protect everyone, literally everyone in her country, and don't want to let anyone behind. So that's why I think she is a really good leader of Burma. She was released from the arrest in 2010, and now she's running to be the president of Burma. Yep, this is the end of my speech. Thank you.
Okay, I've searched for a leader as well, and my leader is Polly Higgins. It's about ecocide. She is a lawyer for the earth because everyone can defend themselves, but the earth can't. And she's leading this campaign, ecocide, and her client is the earth, because there's one missing law, and that's the one that creates a legal duty of care by putting people and the planet first. A law that prohibits mass damage and destruction to human and non-human life and make ecocide a crime. And I think with her campaign, she will lead us to a better world. And I would like to show a short or part of a video. So if you guys have time this weekend, you should really watch this video because it's really interesting.
was 16, I punched my art teacher. He ended up on the floor. Half an hour later, I ended up outside the school gates. What happened there was I disrupted a disruptive cycle. I had taken action into my own hands, and I had stopped what I saw to be an abuse. There was an abuse at play with the smaller kids in school, where violence was being used to control those children. But I'm not proud of what I did then. And in fact, my parents didn't understand that I was standing up for an injustice. My teachers didn't listen to my story. And as a result, I ended up at another school. But the school that I went to next was a very different school altogether. And my next school, instead of being based on command and control ways of keeping children at bay, it used a system that was based on trust and care. And I flourished in that school. For me, that was a school where my unique skills were allowed to be brought into bear so that I could stand up and do what...
Okay, so it's a really interesting story, and she leads the campaign of Ecocide, so she's my leader.
Hello, I'm here for present one of my leader for the orators. As you guys know, Margaret Thatcher, who is the past Prime Minister of the Britain, and I want to pick up one of her speeches, which was really successful, and it was most famous remarks of her Prime Minister seasons. That she announced these speeches because she had to show her determination not to change policies when the circumstances was really tough. As you guys know, at that time she was the only woman and female figure in the Britain Parliament, and she had to face with a lot of jeer from the other male figures, so she had to be really strong. Can you guys a little bit of focus on these sentences, which is, to those waiting with bated breath for that favorite media catchphrase, the U-turn, you guys know what it is. I have only one thing to say. U-turn, here U is this. U-turn if you want to. The lady not for turning. Do you guys understand what does that mean? She used kind of line, which was first, if you want to U-turn, then U-turn. But she was not going to turn because she's so determined about her argument. I think this speech was really good because at the time she really needed strength herself, because she, as I told you, she had to face a lot of jeer or laughing at her, a lot of tough situation, but she had to persuade at least to the public. So that's why she used these speeches, not only because the choice of word was good itself in these speeches, but also she used her emotional feelings, which can be sad, demand willingness for the people. So that's why I think this speech was so recall for other people and for the best part of Margaret Thatcher's speeches. That's all. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm speaking about Opera Humphrey, who is one of my heroes. As you know, she's one of the greatest public speaker, and she's on the top of the list. Not only her communicative skills or her eloquence and her confidence, and also because of her honesty with which she says. As you know, she's very famous for her Oprah show, which became the highest rated in TV talk show, and has motivated and has moved the people all over the world. And I will tell you her famous quote: "The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate." And one another thing, be thankful for what you have, and the biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams. So, as you heard, her powerful expression to influence people has popularly dubbed as Oprah effect. And so she inspired people in real life, even if this is kind of a very amazing, thing. That's why I choose her, one of the hero. Thank you. Next student.
Hello guys, I would like to talk about Emma Watson and her speech. Actually, on July in 2014, there was a campaign called He for She, which is planned by UN Women's Solidarity Movement for Gender Equality, and there was a campaign to promote a gender equality campaign, and in July 2014, Emma Watson was appointed as an ambassador of that campaign and the organization. And in September 2014, they actually launched that campaign, and Emma Watson had a speech as an ambassador in that campaign launching show. And I was quite impressive, not only at her speech. I was also impressed at her attitudes and the characteristics which was involved in her speech. And one of the lines that she spoke in that speech was, "Not me who, not now, when." Actually, for this line, I was very impressed by the meaning and the intent of that line, but I could feel her leadership as representing women in front of the world is really a tough job and really burdenable things. But I was really quite impressed that she made a success on it. And actually, she is one of the actors, but to break the people's prejudice, I think somewhat seems to that kind of act can seen as a feminist, but it actually could be influenced on her career, even though she did some sacrifice and stand in front of the people. So I thought that was quite impressive. And another line she spoke in that speech is that she left kind of an invitation letter for men, not a woman. She said, "Men, I would like to take this opportunity to extend your formal invitation. Gender equality is your issue too." In this line, I was quite impressed at her initiative attitude and her, that's all.
Hello. I chose Martin Luther King. This speech is really famous, but it is famous for a reason, so I chose the speech. He's not a hero of mine, but I like his speech. There's some reasons why I like the speech. The first reason is because it's easy and simple to understand. I think it's one of the most important thing as a speech, because you need to make people, the audience, understand what you're saying. And his speech, it's really easy to understand, and it's neat in a neat language. It's organized. It's a neat form, and the languages he uses, it's effectively showing the theme and direction where the speech is going, what he thinks. For example, he said, you know that phrase, "I have a dream." That dream is far too abstract, but it still delivers an effective message to the audience. Also, it goes from a negative facts, and then it goes to climax with all these positive future. He lists up all the discriminations of black people then, and then he goes to the positive future. He shows the future, how he wants the future to be like, and it's full of positive things. So the audience will be like, oh my god, we are in the situation with all these discriminations and negative things, but we are with all these positive stuff in the future. So I think it's really effective. And lastly, he is very good user of logic and emotion. You need to keep the balance between them, the emotion and the logic. But he is not using so aggressive tone to express the emotion, but he uses logic as well. He's not like saying all the, I don't know, like logics and difficult stuff to understand, but he's coming up with all the logical stuff that the other side of people, like white men, can also understand. Because like a dream, it's not only a dream of black people, but when white men heard the word dream, it means, oh my god, I didn't know that they all have, as human beings, they had dreams. So that's what white men thought when they heard the speech. Also, he used repetition. It's one of the methods he used to make the audience understand the speech. Let freedom ring. It's a phrase from the speech. Let freedom ring for the pervious peaks of California. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. And all these repetitions, it makes the speech more organized and neat. Thank you.
Okay, hi. I admire Steve Jobs. So let me tell you how this happened. Last year there was a conference in the business building, and the creator of iRiver came to give a presentation. And he had bad grades and he was about to drop out. But Steve Jobs' quote actually motivated him. So this quote is, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." It's a short quote, but very inspirational. The history of Steve Jobs is that he had bad grades. He was a college dropout. He has financial complications, so he had to sleep on his friend's floor room and collect Coke bottles in order to get food or money. So he basically hit bottom, and I kind of was lost last year, and I'm still a little bit lost with what I want to do or my dreams. But his quote gave me hope and other young students to dream big and to stay hungry and stay foolish. Thank you.
Okay, so we have shared your power of their use of English. But they know how to maximize the communicative effect of English when they are speaking. For example, that Barack, the Obama, the Dongo was talking about the model, the Obama, Barack Obama as his most respected leader. I would say that's kind of, he has leadership by communication. The President Obama is open and he showed mutual, and he showed a leadership of mutual trust and also respect all the different opinions, and also he can support the minority groups' rights, and also he shows that he is honest, the character of integrity. And the Obama shows this form of leadership by communication. So to maintain this leadership, so the four things are necessary. A good leader should show the feedback, and also the leader should be a good listener, and the leader should have confidence, and leader should also be able to empathize with his people, and also leader should also criticize. For example, the Taiwan was talking about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, I would say, Steve Jobs is leadership by expertise. So when the task is complex and difficult, we need the leadership by expertise. So I think that Steve Jobs shows the technical expertise because he is one of the best engineer, and he is also one of the best designer of the PC, and also he has some interpersonal expertise because he knows sometimes he should make compromise. Sometimes it was funny when he was talking to his clients, and also he was able to develop talents for his subordinates. And also the Steve Jobs knows the political expertise. He knows how to influence the people for his clients and for his boss. So this is a leadership time. And also Oprah Winfrey, she is typically the leadership by, I would say, communication, or the leadership by persuasion. And also Sun Young was talking about Margaret Thatcher, and she has typically the leadership by persuasion. A woman with strong will, and he often wills the compliance by using rational discourse, and for her persuasion succeed, the source should be credible, and authority must be legitimate, and the request for action must be appropriate. So the most notable leadership is the leadership by charisma. I would say that who is that Martin Luther King? Then I think he has leadership by charisma. So what is charisma? The leader can inspire and motivate people. Martin Luther King and President John F. Kennedy had the ability to inspire. So this ability to inspire is called charisma. So charismatic leaders are dynamic, and they are concerned about the people. They are also caring about the interests of their people. So that wraps up our leadership session of our class. So final word about this. We are talking about leadership, and why it is meaningful because of English. If there were not English, there would be no way for example, Polly Higgins, she would have no way to reach some bands in China or Korea or Africa. Because of English, she can reach anyone in Africa or Latin America. So how about Oprah Winfrey? So Oprah Winfrey is a popular idol in the